What's up, pumpers? Jerome here with another classic WoW Season of Mastery video. Today we're going to be talking about all the techniques you need to know to level your alt characters as fast as humanly possible. We're going to cover the best ways to make your character as strong and powerful as possible, as well as some secret leveling techniques to make things that much smoother. Before we get started, please click that like button, hit the subscription button, and don't forget to hit the notification bell as well, or I won't be able to keep making content like this.
You are not prepared.
So to get started with our classic WoW Season of Mastery leveling, we're going to want to gear out our character as much as humanly possible. So this is going to require you to mail yourself a lot of items right when you're getting started with your leveling process. First off, we're going to want to mail ourselves a skinning knife, and if you're a caster, you're going to want to put a 30 spell power enchant on this knife. If you're a melee, you could also put on the fiery weapon enchant, but as a melee character, you're going to want to get used to basically buying the best possible weapons you can on the auction house every time you can. So we're just going to replace them as quickly as possible. So I'd say every 10 to 15 levels, you're going to want a new weapon, maybe even faster if you're flush with gold. We're always going to want to put some good enchants on those weapons. Fiery weapon enchants are great. You can also go with Crusader, of course. But basically, you're going to want the best possible weapons if you're a melee character all the time with the best possible enchants. And that's going to really drastically increase your leveling speed. After we've taken care of our weapons, we're going to also want to get a white pair of boots and put the 8% minor movement speed buff on them. You can use these boots for a really long time, or once you're a little bit higher level, you can take a pair of green boots from the auction house, for example, and pop the minor movement speed on those. But either way, if you think about the math here, 8% movement speed is going to save you 5, 6, maybe 10 hours in 100 hours of leveling. It's absolutely massive. Before you get your mount, you're going to be moving around really slowly, and the minor movement speed buff is a lifesaver. We're also going to want to pop on some lesser arcanums of Constitution. These are going to give us 100 health each, so we're going to get 200 bonus health from that, which is absolutely massive. Don't forget to also enchant your chest with plus 100 for hit points, or you could go plus 4 all stats, but it's a little bit of a waste considering that the 100 health is really nice for leveling anyways to begin with. Of course, don't forget to trick out the rest of your white items with enchants like the plus 9 stamina to bracer, which is huge. Think about the 90 extra health you'll get. That's going to be massive while leveling. Keep in mind as well that items like the skinning knife, for example, you can trade these between multiple characters even after they're enchanted. So you're going to be able to save a lot of gold with some of your gear at the very beginning because you can trade it to multiple characters and you won't have to enchant things every single time. Just finishing up on the gear segment, it's important to replace your white items that are enchanted with fresh greens and blues whenever you see that the cost-benefit analysis weighs in your favor. So basically, if you see a green item that is massively better than your white item, and you have the gold to enchant that new item, that's going to be worth it for you. So maybe every 5 to 10 levels, you can look into switching up some gear and making things easier and easier for yourself. Before getting started, I did want to add one final note, which is that your goal when you're leveling a new character, a fresh character, should essentially be number 1, 0 downtime whenever you're leveling. And that means you're always killing mobs, you're always progressing forward, no downtime, no sitting around eating, no sitting around doing nothing, no waiting and worrying about dying to a pull. You should be going fast. And number 2, you should be doing as many elite quests and dungeon quests as humanly possible. These quests are going to be massive XP, especially the elite quests. And because you're going to be so overpowered and strong, you're going to burn through elite quests and get tons of XP. So you can basically do every difficult quest that you might do on a hardcore character, for example. You can do them with ease, and that should be your number 1 goal, is doing as many hard quests quickly and just destroying every mob that you see. Before we get started, I wanted to explain the thesis or purpose behind this video, which is basically if you have a little bit of support or a max level character already, this is going to be the absolute best way to get another character off the ground. So let's say you have a friend or a guild that's able to help you out. That's going to make your experience way easier, and most of these methods are going to rely on you having someone helping you out or another character or another account that is able to help you out as well. So now that we've talked about gear, we need to talk about the elephant in the room, which is professions. Professions are going to be one of the absolute best ways that you can super speed up your leveling. And the reason why is because engineering is completely busted. It's not really designed to be done at really low levels in the way that we're going to be doing it. So you can literally have goblin sapper charges at level 20. That is absolutely insane. You will be almost killing mobs just with that goblin sapper charge. Of course, you can also have iron nades at level 20 as well. So you can literally be destroying mobs with your iron nades, your sappers, and basically just using as much gold as humanly possible to blow through mobs. And this is going to significantly speed up your leveling process. Also worth noting, you can power level your first aid as well, and by level 20 you can have heavy rune cloth bandages. Now you won't be able to make these yourself, but you can use them. So you can buy a bunch of cloth on your main account, make these bandages, send them over to your alt, and now you're speed leveling, and those rune cloth bandages are going to tick like crazy. The amount of health you're going to get from one tick is absolutely insane, and you'll be speeding through areas in zero downtime. And if you're always killing mobs, you're always doing quests, you're going to be leveling up that much faster. Don't forget to also mail yourself as many potions, as many scrolls, as many buff items that you can possibly think of. Healing potions are amazing. Mana potions are amazing. Bandages, of course, like we talked about. Basically any consumable nades, sappers, whatever you can possibly send yourself to give yourself that leveling speed boost. You never want to have to worry about supplies or slowing down at all. Your idea is to go as fast as possible. We need to mail ourselves as many supplies as we possibly can. Okay, so this next tip is real simple. Mail yourself a bunch of rune cloth bags, and don't forget to stock up your bank as well with big bags. You want to have as many inventory spots as possible. You never want to have to worry about going back and depositing items for quests, for example. You want to just be able to go, and big bags are really going to help with that. So we've set ourselves up for success with our gear and our consumables. What do we do now? Well, one thing you can do is get world buffs. So wait for things like Onyxia or Ren to drop, and then boom, you can be world buffed out of your mind. And whenever you're questing, you'll have world buffs be that much stronger, that much more efficient. I would definitely recommend doing this if you don't plan on leveling all the time. Wait for that Onyxia buff, and then when that Onyxia buff drops, you can then go out and level, and it'll be a lot faster and a lot easier and a lot more relaxing. On the topic of buffs, don't forget that you can get tons of buffs onto your character as well from other players. Fortitude, Mark of the Wild, Thorns, Pally buffs, for example. These are all really going to significantly speed up your leveling. Obviously, the low-level version of these will be applied to your character, so they do scale with level, but that's going to be really useful, especially as you scale up and get higher level. These buffs are a significant advantage. Imagine, for example, if you're questing and you have Mark of the Wild, you have Thorns, you have Fortitude, and you're a warrior, for example. That's going to be significantly easier leveling for you. And so what you could do is either ask your guildies when they're on Orgrimmar to buff you up, or buff yourself up from a main character. But either way, it's going to be a lot easier to level with buffs on. So here's a classic tip, especially as you get higher level, you can wait for rested XP. So you get full rested XP in about 12 and a half days. So if you get to level 50, for example, you could literally just log out for 2 weeks, come back, and boom, that next level is going to take way less time. Keep in mind that rest XP is more valuable the higher level you get because it is percentage based. So let's say you get 10% of a level of rest XP, you would get that at the same pace at level 10 or at level 59. It's really nice to acquire rested XP later on, level 45, 50, for example, because let's say you get a bar of rested XP, that's going to be worth so much more when the XP scales up at level 50, for example. And also, it's a great psychological thing because you're going to feel that burden lifted if you know you're going to be getting double XP from mobs for an hour of grinding, for example, or 2 hours. That's a huge burden lifted, in my opinion. It's a great way to stay motivated while you're leveling. You take a little bit of a break, you come back, and you get results much more quickly. It's a win-win for everybody. Talking about rested XP, not to put in a little plug here, but there is a nice leveling add-on called Rested XP where, professional speedrunners have made a guide that you can use in game, which will give you arrows and everything. Or you could use something like Zygor. Either way, you're good to go. Just a leveling guide is definitely going to make things a lot easier and stress-free. Another thing that would usually be more obvious, but a lot of people have been playing hardcore lately, is that you can move your character around with portals, and classic portals are invaluable. So let's say you're stuck on the eastern side of the game world, you can use a portal to get to Kalimdor very quickly on Alliance. You don't have to take freaking boats everywhere. So if you've got a main character that's a mage, or you got a friend or guildie, you can call on them to get you portals, or just buy portals. Either way, portals are a great way to speed up your leveling. All right, so it's time for my last tip, and this is one of my absolute favorites. So basically, let's say you want to get a quest done in Blasted Lands. You got to get all the Blasted Boar Lungs. You got to get the pincers. Well, you can just go on the auction house, buy all those items, bring them in, and what do you know? You got all the items in 10 seconds instead of having to farm boars for 3 hours. That's a really good thing you can do with probably 30 different quests. Really great way to get fast XP, similar to the rune cloth turn in, for example. All the cloth turn ins, you can buy those cloth in seconds, have them turned in, and you'll be getting a full level out of that or more. Some of my other favorite quests to do are quests like the Water Pouch Bounty Quest and the Marrow Grain Research Quest. So these are repeatable quests where you can buy things from the auction house and get XP. So these are going to work all the way until your high 50s or even level 60. These are really, really great quests. The Tannerous quest, unfortunately, will run out a little bit earlier than that, but it's fantastic XP. You can buy these Waste Runner pouches on the auction house. They're usually really plentiful. Right now, unfortunately, not the case because people are a little bit wiser to it. And there's an important thing to note here. You're getting 40% bonus on these turn-ins. So a lot of people are aware of that, and they're like, wait a minute, why don't I just turn these in? So it's way more XP than before, but the items are more expensive. You're going to have more luck with the Marrow Grain turn-ins because it doesn't seem like a lot of people know about these. I was able to find a couple hundred on the auction house, and they were much cheaper. Marrow Grain is technically a little bit harder to get than the wastewater pouches. The wastewater pouches, the more crowded a server is, people are just going to generate a lot of these. But it unfortunately seems like because there's no mage boosting, people are just turning these in themselves, and any that are on the auction house are going to be sold at exorbitant rates. But I would keep an eye on it. So imagine this. Let's say you're making a lot of gold on your main character. You don't really like leveling. You could level a character to your mid 40s over time, and then you start acquiring a bunch of rested XP. At the same time, you start acquiring items like the Marrow Grain and the Wastewater pouches. So you get a free level or so off that as well. And your leveling experience is going to be that much smoother and that much more enjoyable. Your character is going to be 60 in absolutely 0 time, and you're going to be feeling great. All right, so we covered the absolute best ways to speed up your leveling in Classic WoW Season of Mastery, but I don't think we're finished just yet. I would love to hear from you in the comments below your absolute favorite tips to level up faster in Classic WoW, your secrets. I want to know everything. Let me know in the comments below, and thank you so much, and remember to have a great day.